the Democrats know no end, which they're going to do to take money out of your wallet and spend it for their pet projects. As you have heard, there is a bill, a $1.5 trillion spending bill that they are linking onto a Ukraine humanitarian and military relief bill, $13.6 billion. Now think about this. You've got $13 billion in aid to Ukraine, and they're sticking on to this, the Omnibus spending bill, which is $1.5 trillion. Now, why are some of the members of the U.S. Senate so giddy about passing this bill? It is because they have inserted 4,000 earmarks for their pet projects. Here's some of what is in here. $100 billion on Green New Deal initiatives and racial justice programs through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. $100 million, that is your dollars, for environmental justice activities at the EPA. $27 million for the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. $2 million to a specific university for climate change communication. $1.4 million to another one for environmental justice education. $500,000 for diversity and inclusion in STEM initiatives, specifically for climate change. And you're going to love this one. $1.6 million to the state of Rhode Island for what? Studying shellfish. Now, another city is going to get $500,000 of your bucks for swimming pool improvements. There is going to be $40 million that goes to the city park that is in front of Nancy Pelosi's house. By the way, she has previously earmarked $200 million for this park. And there is a member of the U.S. Senate who will get money for a shopping center in their state. That's right, your tax dollars at work, and you got it. I am a no vote.
Against this 2,700-page monstrosity, which is called the spending bill for this fiscal year. By the way, we're nearly halfway through the current fiscal year, so we're 6 months late nearly on getting a budget passed to fund the U.S. federal government. But there are 4,000 earmarks in this bill, totaling over $8 billion. This is why I'm voting against it. Let me give you a few of those examples. $1.6 million for equitable growth of shellfish aquaculture industry in Rhode Island. $300,000 for a left-wing anti-gun group that thinks, and I'm quoting from their website, the Second Amendment has long been a tool for white supremacy. Yeah, we'll send $300,000 of your taxpayer dollars. $500,000 to promote health equity in local Yonkers pools in New York. $2 million, of course, for George Mason University's Center for Climate Change Communication. $10 million to tear down an abandoned hotel in Alaska. $500,000 to preserve a house in Massachusetts. $480,000 for, quote, non-impervious parking in Connecticut. And of course, you got to have $280,000 for that Waltham Embassy parking lot project in Massachusetts. This is ridiculous. This is what's wrong with Washington, D.C. We're $30 trillion in debt. This is Montana taxpayer dollars we're fighting for. We can do and must do better than this. I'll be voting no tonight on this bloated budget.
This report is a reminder that America's budgets are being stretched by price increases and families are starting to feel the impacts of, Ainsley, Putin's price hike. That is the talking point that we're hearing. It's all Vladimir Putin, none of the policies we pursue.
Do they just think we're dumb? This is what happens when you're in an administration. You look at whatever the biggest conflict is, whatever the biggest news story is. It happens to be what's happening in Russia right now. They think that, oh, that's great. We're going to take advantage of this. We're going to blame everything on that situation to divert, to redirect, so that we're not blamed for this. Even though we are not dumb, and we have felt this in our pocketbooks, in our bank accounts, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everyone across the country, have felt the inflation, have felt food prices going up, our electric bills going up. To fill your gas tank, someone told me in California it was $100 for her mom to fill up her gas tank. She lives in LA. I mean, that's crazy. We're not stupid. This has been going on for more than a year now. We saw it happening as soon as Donald Trump left and as soon as Joe Biden takes office. And people want it fixed. And they're going to have a problem in November at midterms if they don't solve this problem. They can blame it on everything under the sun. But we know that it is their fault. And if they don't fix it, they're going to lose the elections in November.
Steve Ratner worked for President Obama and would not hear of it or have it. Like Larry Summers has been speaking out when economics has just been misconstrued and mismessaged. He says, well, no, these are February numbers and include only a small Russia effect. This is Biden's inflation, and he needs to own it. And they go back to the 1.9 rescue package, saying that was totally unnecessary. Trump gave you $800 billion, which was unnecessary. We sent $6 trillion coming out of the pandemic. We just spent $1.4 last night on the Omnibus bill. You spend all this money if the dollars just inflate. But it's not going to stop that messaging from coming out.
You're exactly right. I mean, they have to think people are dumb, because every single chart on inflation and on gas prices looks like that since he took over. And yet they're trying to say, just pay attention to this really little part at the end. And that's what Steve Ratner put it out. An Obama official. 4 days of that consumer price index report are when the war was actually going on.
The more we pay at the
you?
pump, the more they're going to pay in November.